I want to tell you about something that many of us don't want to talk about, HIV/AIDS and the toll it is taking on our community, especially young people. Now, HIV isn't his problem or her problem, it's all of our problem. The facts are clear. African Americans, especially young people, are being devastated by HIV and AIDS. But there's something we can all do about it. We can and must talk about HIV. So break the silence by having a conversation. Send a text, update your status, post this video. Talk about HIV and what we can do to prevent it. To get the facts, visit actagainstaids.org.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't, because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's one every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
Look around you. 1 in 4 kids in the U.S. faces hunger. It's not always easy to see the signs, but in this land of plenty, there are kids that don't know where they will get their next meal. Join Share Our Strength in Food Network and take the pledge to end childhood hunger here in America by 2015. Learn how at NoKidHungry.org. Their next meal could come from you.
My mama always said, life is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're gonna get.
Lions, tigers, bears. Oh my!
Hakuna bina kanjanda.
Then me te kigatio kako.
Mete gacha.
Deal, Ma. I see you eyeing me.
Yeah, I've been watching you.
Can I call you?
I got it ready for you.
What's up with this HIV hotline?
You better check yourself. This ain't no game.
Just want to talk to you.
I'm HIV positive. I didn't protect myself. You still want to talk?
I didn't know.
If you are sexually active, there's only one way to protect yourself for sure. Use condoms correctly every time. Life is what you make it. Be safe.
From the highest of 7 hills in Florida's capital city, covering every corner of the Big Bend, this is the award-winning News 20 at 5 Live.
2 Tallahassee attorneys are requesting for an investigation over a Florida inmate's death. Welcome to News 20 at 5. I'm Gabrielle Dawkins.
And I'm Donovan Long. Attorneys Darrell Parks and Benjamin Crump are calling attention to Ocala inmate Latondra Ellington, who was found dead last week. Now, before her death, Ellington sent a letter to her aunt saying that she felt threatened and feared for her life while in custody. An autopsy authorized by the attorneys found hemorrhaging caused by blunt force trauma.
Railroad construction is forcing Star Metro to reroute its buses. The work will affect the intersection of Tharp Street and Mission Road in Hartsfield and Mission. Both intersections will be blocked off from October 15th through the 17th. The Forest and San Luis routes will be taking detours as well. The work is being done by CSX Transportation, and for more information on day-to-day detour updates, visit talgov.com/StarMetro.
And before you put that key in the ignition, there are a few road rules you may need to know. The city of Tallahassee has added new traffic amenities that will make the roads safer and more efficient. This includes roundabouts, back-end angle parking, and pedestrian cross signals.
There are nearly 500,000 children in foster care around the globe. What are state agencies and their employees doing to assist these children and young adults? Multimedia journalist Asia Johnson has the story.
The Children's Home Society, better known as CHS, has been bringing families together for nearly a century. Adoption specialist Jamie Axe works as a Wendy's Wonderful Kids recruiter in Tallahassee CHS office.
They are looking for homes. I recruit for the harder to place kids, so the teenagers, the sibling groups, or medically needy children. And the Dave Thomas Foundation has a success rate. Kids are 3 times more likely to be adopted if they are on my caseload.
CHS was ranked #1 local charity and not-for-profit org by a 2011 poll in Tallahassee Magazine. ACT says the partnership between Wendy's Wonderful Kids and CHS has been very successful.
We do statistics and we document it regularly, and because of the child-specific recruitment that I do, it is statistically proven to be more reliable.
CHS foster care recruiter Samuel Oliver says that working at CHS is very rewarding, and he has a 100% success rate with reunification or adoption.
When I get to see families that are truly thriving, everyone's happy, and the well-being of all of those families is foremost, and you see that accomplished.
So what happens after young adults age out of the foster care system? That's where people like Thomas Fair come in. Fair has opened his home to more than 31 young men and women transitioning from foster care to living alone.
So what we do at the home is we focus fully on transitional living, and the main thing from that is one is all the different skills you do whenever you're independent, from banking, from communicating, from getting a job, those types of things. Another one we do is get them all a firm, strong network in the community. So we connect them with mentors, we connect them with school programs.
Fair is a Children's Home Society contractor who aged out of his own foster group home in Fort Lauderdale, Florida 7 years ago. Fair says he is working with his organization, Florida Youth Shine, to restore a sense of normalcy in the lives of those who grew up in foster care. He wants to provide additional support that may not be available. When asked what he would do if someone knocked on his door needing somewhere to stay, Fair did not hesitate.
I would help them out getting a place to stay.
In Tallahassee, for News 20 at 5, I'm Asia Johnson.
For more information on Fair's group, Florida Youth Shine, and all they're doing to aid current and former foster children, go to floridayouthshine.org.
And 21 new wells were drilled along the Wakulla Springs and St. Marks River basins. The wells will help geologists collect data on the water levels in the aquifer. Now, the goal is to construct minimum flow thresholds that can be used to restrict water pumpings.
Good news for Tallahassee. A new study released by the Florida Department of Transportation, Aviation, and Spaceport Office says the Tallahassee Regional Airport had an economic increase. The airport has a total economic output of almost $400 million from the last 4 years. The report says the figure is a reflection of the on-airport construction projects, the business located at the airport, and spending from visitors. Breast cancer may not raise a few eyebrows unless you happen to be a woman, but according to the American Cancer Society, it's uncommon for men to be diagnosed with breast cancer. Multimedia journalist Brittany Collins has the story on the male breast cancer survivor.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says the most leading cancer among men is prostate cancer. But men getting breast cancer, it may surprise a few people. It surprised Ambrose Kirkland. He's one of the few 2,000 men in the U.S. who was diagnosed with breast cancer. And his story? He survived it.
I'll never forget that day. It was when the doctor called me and told me that I had breast cancer. And when he said the word breast cancer, I looked into my mom's eyes and I could see my life flash before in her eyes.
In 2001, Ambrose found a lump in his breast and then spots came. He ignored it for a while and woke up, realizing it was something serious.
It took me about 2 weeks to really go see the doctor because I really wasn't afraid. I just thought maybe I had been scratching myself on the nipple or something. And the spots got bigger and bigger. And finally, I told my mother about it, and of course she said, "Boy, you better take your butt to that doctor."
Most people don't think men have breasts. So how can men like Ambrose get breast cancer without breasts? Tallahassee Memorial Hospital cancer specialist Dr. Amit Jain says both male and females have breast tissue.
As men get older, they do have more breast tissue. So it's not the same size as women, but they do have some. So they do have a propensity to get breast cancer.
went through radiation instead of chemotherapy because of his lack of estrogen. Some of the side effects made him feel so miserable.
And most of the time I said, I can smell something burning. It smells like burning skin. Then I realized, duh, that's you. And it was a nasty smell.
And when he was tired and weak, he forced himself to get up. And he didn't let this disease mentally hurt him.
You know what? Cancer doesn't have me. I have cancer. It doesn't have me. And some people used to always wonder, how can you say the word cancer and smile all the time? Why not?
And he still doesn't make an excuse for himself. He took care of his mother until she passed away, and he takes care of his sister who has a disability. And when he sees the important ladies in his life, he's glad he was the one diagnosed with breast cancer.
I was thinking, God, if I do have breast cancer, let me be the one to have this, and I don't want any of the females in my family to have it. Because I knew what they would have to lose if they had breast cancer. I didn't mind losing mine, because I wasn't using them anyway.
From News 20 at 5, I'm Brittany Collins.
For more information on breast cancer, go to cancer.org. If you were driving last night, you may have noticed some unique lights on a local building here in Tallahassee. City Hall was painted with pink lights in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Tallahassee has gone pink to show support for the disease. Other places lit up include Cascades Park Fountain and the water fountain. So when the night comes, make sure to catch a glimpse of these lights. Lawyers of a retired police captain accused of killing a man at a Florida movie theater went back to court today. Curtis Reeves is accused of shooting a 43-year-old man, back in January during an argument over texting. His lawyers want permission to visit the scene of a crime to reconstruct what happened. Reeves has pled not guilty, but said he acted in self-defense. The case is expected to go to trial next spring.
And a North Florida man is being charged for smuggling tortoises out of Alabama. Authorities say the man was stopped at a security checkpoint, and that's when they found 6 gopher tortoises. Now, he told investigators that he planned on eating the animals. The tortoises were released into a suitable habitat.
Coming up on News 20 at 5, find out what happened to the first patient with Ebola in the U.S.
And also see what unhealthy foods you can cut straight out of your diet. Stay tuned. You're watching News 20 at 5.
Introducing a mobile application that can open up an entire new world for the orange and green faithful, with the ability to check out the latest in-campus news, events, athletic scores, and much, much more. Specifically designed for the family. Whether it's linking to your class courses from your mobile device, looking through maps to find specific buildings on campus, or just having some fun looking through uploaded videos and photos, a great addition to your mobile FAMU student lifestyle. Get your FAMU app today.
Welcome home, back to friends, family, and loved ones. You've done your duty for your country. Now, it's time to do your duty for yourself. Chart a new course and achieve honor for you and your family. Start with a top-notch education that will take you to new terrains. Soldier on at Florida A&M University.
I picked up the saxophone when I was 11 years old, and after that, I never looked back. I've had the opportunity to make music with some of the greats, and even perform for the legendary B.B. King. Right now, I'm composing the soundtrack for the music of my life. And of all the stages that I've ever performed on, this one, on the Hill, hits closest to home. I'm prepared to perform in any area of my professional career because FAMU taught me.
A Florida girl is recovering after contracting a severe respiratory illness. The 10-year-old, who's from Polk County, was infected with enterovirus 68, says the Florida Department of Health. Now, those infected experience cold and flu-like symptoms, and for young children and infants, it causes difficulty breathing. Now, the illness is highly contagious, and the health department encourages everybody to wash their hands.
A 59-year-old Florida man is in trouble with the law after he allegedly pretended to be a gynecologist. Wellington Lorenzo was arrested by the Orange County Sheriff's Office after being accused of practicing medicine without a license and also for Medicaid fraud. One patient said she received care from Lorenzo for 2 years at the Prime Care Family Health Care Center. She said he even prescribed her medicine. Other patients say they confused Lorenzo with another doctor at the office.
A hospital in Seattle says it is willing to receive and treat U.S. citizens who were in West Africa at the time of the Ebola outbreak. Officials with Harborview Medical Center say they feel obligated to treat the doctors and volunteers who came in contact with the virus while volunteering. However, the State Department of Health says no plans have been made to send any patients to the Washington area. So far, a total of 5 U.S. hospitals say they will treat Ebola patients.
Thomas Eric Duncan, the first patient to have Ebola in the U.S., has died. Duncan died Wednesday morning. The Liberian native flew to Dallas to visit his family, and there he began experiencing flu-like symptoms. He was treated at the hospital, then released. Duncan was later readmitted to Dallas Presbyterian Hospital, where he died. Duncan was 42.
And the Center for Disease Control says when children eat less sodium, they can ultimately lower their risk for hypertension and lower blood pressure as an adult. Multimedia journalist Brianna McGregor tells us more.
The average amount of sodium per day for the healthiest child should be no more than 2,300 milligrams. Heather Fisher, registered dietitian, tells us more about getting the child involved in your daily meal preparations.
Basically, kids are exposed to a food environment that is rich in sodium. So we're talking about processed foods, fast foods, convenience foods, and these are often cheaper and easier to access.
Some of the top food sources that children intake that are high in sodium are pizza, pasta, breads, and frozen prepackaged meals.
According to the CDC's website, more than 90% of children ranging from 6 to 18 years old now have a rise in their sodium intake.
Demario Wayman, father to 1-year-old son Marcel Wayman, said being a single father, he doesn't know how to prepare healthy meals, so typically Marcel eats exactly what I eat, which 9 times out of 10 is fast food. 65% of children's sodium comes from store-bought foods, and 13% comes from fast foods and restaurants. Also, 9% comes from the school's cafeteria lunch meals. For News 20 at 5, I am Brianna McGregor.
75% of children's sodium comes from processed foods in restaurants. The CDC suggests that trail mix, fresh vegetables, and non-fat yogurt will provide your child with a healthy lifestyle.
After thinking they were candy, a 4-year-old girl passed out packets of heroin, 249 of them to be exact, to her daycare classmates. After realizing what happened, teachers immediately confiscated the drugs and called police. The girl's mother, Ashley Artul, was arrested and charged with maintaining a drug property and 3 counts of child endangerment. Tull was later freed on bail.
And the U.S. Supreme Court has placed a temporary hold on same-sex marriage proceedings in Idaho and Nevada. Now, the Federal Appeals Court struck down the bans on those 2 states, then later ordered that the ruling go into effect immediately. Idaho officials then asked the higher court to intervene and block enforcement of that lower court mandate. Same-sex marriage couples have until Thursday to file a written response before the court makes their decision.
A pilot is dead after the plane he was using to fight a California wildfire crashed. The unidentified man was helping fight a wildfire at the Yosemite National Park when the crash happened. The pilot was believed to be the only person on board, according to the Cal Fire and Danielle Berlant. The plane was a S-2 Air tanker. The cause of the crash is unknown, and both the National Traffic Safety Board and Federal Aviation Administration will investigate. Walmart plans to cut health insurance coverage for some of its part-time workers. Walmart made this decision in an effort to control the rising healthcare costs. Target, Home Depot, and other retail corporations has decided to do the same. This came after Walmart announced that it's teaming up with an online agency to help customers shop for health insurance plan. Walmart declined to say what percentage of total part-time workers will lose their company-sponsored health care coverage next year.
And Amazon is another company facing a major tax probe in Europe. The European Commission is investigating if Amazon purposely moved its money around to avoid its fair share of taxes. Europe's top regulators believe the online retailer have been receiving state aid from Luxembourg for over a decade. Apple, Starbucks, and a unit of the automaker Fiat are also under investigation for similar tax arrangements in Ireland, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg. And the FBI is asking the public for help to identify a masked militant who's arresting and executing Syrian soldiers. Now, the agency says that the masked man alternates between English and Arabic to appeal to a Western audience. The FBI Director James Comey says that there may be several Americans fighting alongside of ISIS. And U.S. officials have concluded that the Syrian town of Kobani will eventually be handed over to the Sunni militants. This is due to the support of the coalition airstrike against ISIS. If the town is captured, then the insurgents will control a stretch of land that ranges from Raqqa to the Turkish border.
Did you catch it this morning? A lunar eclipse turned the moon reddish-orange for about an hour. This type of eclipse occurs when the moon passes through the Earth's shadow. Because of the red hue, it's been coined a blood moon. The next one is expected to occur next year in April.
So, ladies, switching gears, it goes from one cold day to a hot day. Brittany,
Right.
What can we expect?
Well, there's going to be some beautiful weather this weekend today. It's pretty hot outside, and I'll let you know more after the break.
Stay tuned. You're watching News 20 at 5.
.5 the Flavor Station, always represent that real hip hop and R&B. Sean D is in the building to that 7 o'clock hour.
Welcome back to News 20 at 5. I'm Brittany Collins with your weather, and it was pretty sticky and muggy outside earlier. Your cute little curls probably fell flat down, but later on the day became beautiful. The sun is out and the sky is blue, and we are in a beautiful condition right now with a high of 89. And there won't be any rain later on today. Neither will there be any rain later on tonight. We are expecting some clear skies, and it's going to be pretty cloudy, a little bit sticky and humid outside, so you may want to wear your sandals and your shorts when you go walking in the park tonight. And for tomorrow, we're not expecting any rain. It's going to be mostly sunny. Again, no rain for tomorrow, mostly sunny, and the skies will be blue with a high of 90 and a low of 65, and we are not expecting too much winds. It's going to be beautiful and humid tomorrow as well. And if you plan on getting outside of Tallahassee and making your way over to Bainbridge, you can see we have a high of 93 and a low of 66. It's still going to be hot over there in Bainbridge, pretty sticky out there. In Albany, it's going to be nice. The winds will be out, but you can see the weather's dropping down a little bit low. In Albany, with a high of 88 and a low of 64. Mariana and Thomasville, we're in the low 90s and in the mid 60s for the lows. And in Moultrie and Quincy, high of 88 and a low of 64. And in Crawfordville, the weather's going to be pretty sticky over there with a high of 90 and a low of 61. And let's take a look at this week's forecast. Today, beautiful weather. In fact, the rest of the week is going to be beautiful, gorgeous weather. We have a high of 89 today and a low of 63. Thursday and Friday and on Saturday, we're going to be in the high 80s and the low 90s and in the mid 60s. And on Sunday, we're going to have a high of 90 and a low of 68. That's it for your weather. Have a beautiful, wonderful Wednesday. Back to you guys at the desk.
FSU football and a whole lot more.
All righty. We'll have more next in sports. You're watching News 20 at 5.
The School of Allied Health Sciences was established in 1982 to address a growing need for access to quality education in a field of rapidly growing health professions. The school has 5 divisions: cardiopulmonary science, healthcare management, health informatics and information management, occupational therapy, and physical therapy. Overall, FAMU ranks as the #1 producer of African American allied health professionals in Florida. And the university has the only cardiopulmonary science program in the state. Its Division of Occupational Therapy is the #1 producer of African American occupational therapists in the country. And health facilities and patients around the world benefit from the contributions of our doctors of physical therapy.
I'm Dr. Cynthia Hughes Harris, Dean of the School of Allied Health Sciences. Based on our accomplishments, goals, and multiple levels of activity, it is easy to understand why our constant flow of energy allows us to say Allied Health is on the move. Great things are happening at FAMU every day.
Welcome back to News 20 at 5. I'm Quentin G with your sports. Well, as I'm sure you all know, this past weekend in FBS college football was a wild one. There were a lot of upsets, and 11 out of the top 25 ranked schools lost, and 3 of those schools were in the top 5. But Florida State University did not fall victim to an upset. The Noles, of course, dominated Wake Forest University 43-3. But head coach Jimbo Fisher says he appreciates every win despite what's on the scoreboard, and he says he just happy that his guys find a way to get a W.
Winning is hard, folks. Don't ever take it for granted. Don't ever be unsatisfied with winning and finding ways to overcome and adapt. In our society, sometimes we want instant gratification. If things don't go like we want them to go or how we perceive them, there's got to be something wrong. No, sometimes that's just the way it is. You know what I mean?
Going on up to the Hill now, there's a few internet rumors surrounding Florida A&M University's head football coach, Earl Holmes. The rumors address the future of Holmes as FAMU's head football coach, but the university's athletic department said Holmes is still the head coach and his future with the team has not changed. But after a few attempts to contact FAMU's athletic director, Kellen Winslow, he has still not been available to the media. FAMU's football team is 0-5 on the season, but Holmes says the slow start is just the growing pains of a young team.
There's no progress without the process. We're going through the process. You know, that's why I'm talking about the freshmen. They freshmen. And some of these kids have been out of high school no more than 8 months, and they're playing now on a collegiate level. So Rome wasn't built in a day. So rumors, and listen, I'm here to win a championship. I'm building a championship team.
Back to FBS football, there's a lot of quarterback controversy in Gainesville, Florida, and not the typical QB controversy one thinks about when referring to a football team. For the first time, the University of Florida's head coach, Will Muschamp, spoke on the sexual assault allegation against freshman quarterback Treon Harris. Harris is, of course, suspended pending the criminal investigation, and Muschamp called it a, quote, very serious charge. But as ESPN reports, Muschamp did not answer many questions on the issue. Muschamp did, however, laugh at the most recent issue involving another Gator QB, where sophomore quarterback Skylar Morningweg and freshman defensive lineman Gerald Willis III were involved in a physical altercation outside of Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, allegedly over Morningweg's cleats. Well, on to the diamond. We're just 2 series away from, guess what? The World Series, as the St. Louis Cardinals and the San Francisco Giants both advanced to the National League Championship Series last night. The Cardinals defeated the Los Angeles Dodgers after scoring 3 unanswered runs in the 7th inning. The Giants landed themselves into the NLCS as well after taking down the Washington Nationals. The NLCS is set to begin on Saturday, October the 11th, and the American League Championship Series, between the Kansas City Royals and the Baltimore Orioles will begin Friday, October the 10th. Now on to the court. The Miami Heat held their media day on Tuesday, and we all know who's not there. Of course, 4-time league MVP LeBron James is no longer a part of the Miami Heat as he left in the offseason to rejoin the Cleveland Cavaliers. But Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh aren't sweating it. In fact, Bosh told reporters he hasn't talked to James since he left. The Heat have a preseason game against the Cavs this Saturday, but the first real game isn't until Christmas Day. That's it for your sports. I'm Quentin G. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Quentin. Straight ahead on News 20 at 5, a local place is offering some nighttime enjoyment for those looking for a little bit of an adventure. We'll have all that and more. Stay tuned. You're watching News 20 at 5.
.5 the Flavor Station, always represent that real hip hop and R&B. Sean D is in the building to that 7 o'clock hour.
It's a night of fun at the Tallahassee Museum. Participants can expect to experience the Soaring Cypress zip lining course and other aerial obstacles in the dark. The event will be from 7:30 to 10:30. For more information, visit tallahasseemuseum.org.
You all, we have got to go ziplining, but in the meantime, I hope it's good weather when we do. So, Brittany, with that said, what can we expect in weather for the next 5 days?
Well, this week is going to be pretty beautiful outside, a little bit humid, but overall a beautiful day. Today we are at a high of 89 and a low of 63. Thursday, a high of 90 and a low of 65. And Friday and Saturday, we're in the high 80s at 89 and in the mid 60s, with Friday being in the low at 65 and Saturday, the low of 66. And on Sunday, we are at a high of 89 and a low of 68. Beautiful weather, maybe kind of humid and maybe sticky in the morning. You may want to, but you can also you can always wear your shorts and your flip-flops. But beautiful day.
All right, all right.
Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. For Brittany Collins and Quentin G, I'm Gabrielle Dawkins.
And I'm Donovan Long. Thanks for watching. And for more news and updates, visit thefamuonline.com. Have a great evening.